Welcome to the episode 15 summary of the Reading Finnegans Wake in 200 Sessions podcast, where we analyze Finnegans Wake by James Joyce 3 pages at a time. And hey, if you enjoy this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Now, let's talk about a book that's famous for being, well, unreadable. But what if there's a key to unlocking James Joyce's Finnegans Wake? Let's try to find it by digging into just 3 pages of this incredible puzzle.
Okay, let's just jump right in. Joyce immediately throws this word at us that, doesn't actually exist, Humphreyed. But just listen to it for a second. It sounds like Humphrey, right? The main character. It also kind of sounds like the Iliad, some grand sweeping epic. And let's be honest, it sounds a little bit funny too. That one word, part myth, part joke, part epic, that's our key. So before we get totally lost in the weeds here, let's start on the surface. What is this passage even about? Well, surprisingly, when you look past the crazy language, it's actually painting a really clear and kind of peaceful picture. Think about it like this. Imagine you're in the Irish countryside. Someone is riding along in a horse-drawn cart, a jaunting car, and they're telling a story. Joyce gives us these little details, Augustan oaks, a huge stone rising stark from the moonlit pine barren. You can even hear the Angelus bell ringing while farm workers take a break to pray. It's a classic, simple, rural Irish scene. So, how does Joyce create this really simple, calm scene? Well, he does it with language that is anything but simple. He builds this whole picture out of this whirlwind of puns and word tricks and all sorts of hidden meanings. All right, let's start digging. Our first layer here is Joyce's language itself, specifically the way he smashes words together to pack like 3 or 4 meanings into a single sound. These are called portmanteaus. You can think of it like a suitcase for words. You're just packing a bunch of different ideas into one neat little package. And Joyce, he is an absolute master of this. Let's look at an example from the very first line of this section. Okay, take the word jaunty jogging. So on one level, it gives you the feeling of a jaunty, kind of cheerful ride. At the same time, it's the physical motion of jogging up and down on a bumpy road. And it's also a little nod to a popular song at the time called The Irish Jaunting Car. So in just one word, Joyce gives us an image, a feeling, and a piece of pop culture. It's brilliant. All right, let's try another one. This is a description of our protagonist, Humphrey Chimpton Earwicker, or HCE for short. So is HCE the best of Republicans, some kind of noble guy? Or is he a bester, which is slang for a cheat or a swindler? Or is he just a publican, an innkeeper? Well, Joyce's language makes it super clear that the answer is yes. He's all of those things, all at the same time. That contradiction, that's the whole point. Okay, time to dig a little deeper, because underneath all this wordplay, this simple little landscape is just packed with centuries of conflict. The text is basically haunted by the ghosts of Irish history, and world history for that matter. I mean, just look at this line. This right here is an absolute powder keg of Irish history, and it's all squeezed into just a few words. It sounds like a simple little cheer, but trust me, it is so much more than that. So on one side, you've got this cheer for Up King Billy. That's King William of Orange, the Protestant hero. But right up against him, you have Cromwell's. Now that brings up Oliver Cromwell, who is a figure of absolute terror in Irish history, and an ancient bloodthirsty pagan god named Crom-Cruach. So this isn't just some cheer, it's the entire violent, complicated history of Ireland exploding in a single sentence. And it doesn't stop with Ireland. Not at all. Joyce starts pulling in names from all over the place. Ancient chieftains who fought the Romans, the personification of Ireland itself, even the painter Rembrandt. What he's doing is suggesting that this local story, this Irish conflict, is really part of a huge, repeating cycle of human history. And now we hit the densest, most chaotic layer yet. All of a sudden, the text just dissolves into this storm of different languages, a total babble of voices from all over the world. And at first, it honestly feels like complete nonsense. So out of nowhere, we get hit with a simple greeting in Swedish. And then, bam, we jump over to Hungarian with someone trying to hail a cab. And then we're in Hindustani with a simple question about tea. It is so disorienting, just a total linguistic pileup. But is it just random chaos? Well, here's the amazing part. When you step back and actually look at all these little phrases, a pattern starts to show up. This isn't just noise. It's the sound of ordinary, everyday life happening everywhere. It's greetings, it's buying things, it's asking questions, it's small talk. Joyce has basically compressed the sound of the entire human world into just a few lines of text. So, we've dug through the landscape, the wordplay, the history, and this global chatter. And what do we find right at the very center of it all? Well, all of these layers come together into one single voice. Our guy, HCE, who suddenly launches into this big, rambling, defensive speech. He starts with this weird, goat-like stutter, Megeg, before puffing up his chest and calling on the entire universe to vouch for him and his good name. He sounds both totally ridiculous and somehow absolutely epic at the exact same time. And his speech, as bizarre as it sounds, actually follows a pretty clear four-part structure. First, he insists his business credit is solid. Second, he points to a real public monument as proof of how reliable he is. Third, he tells the young people watching him that they should be just like him. And finally, he tips his hat to a higher power, the great schoolmaster, which probably means God. It's a classic, if very strange, public relations move. So after peeling back all those layers, we're left with this one big final question. Who is this guy, really? Is he a hero defending his honor? Is he a total con man just trying to cover his tracks? Or is he something bigger? Maybe he's an archetype for all of us, for all of humanity, constantly trying to justify itself to the universe. Joyce, of course, gives us no easy answers. The narrator even jumps in at the end and says, "I tell you no story," and then just tells us to smile. It's like the whole thing is one big cosmic joke. The puzzle of who HCE is and what this whole book is about, that's left for us, the reader, to figure out. And that, right there, is the genius of Finnegans Wake.